What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Trail Theory Podcast. I'm Brian.
I'm Alex.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Pfeiffer. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to the Trail Theory Podcast. We are back, and tonight we're going to talk about some weird stuff. Just some weird stuff. If you've been,
and everyone has passed the video. We're going to talk about weird stuff.
Actually, it's probably going to spike. They really,
hey,
Weird how?
How
Next.
kinky are we getting?
I did not prepare for that.
I'm always prepared for that. Let's go.
I think strange.
Strange, weird. So things, if you've been, we've been on a number of backpacking trips. We read a lot about it. We read a lot of articles. And it's anytime you're out in nature, just cool and strange and weird and unknown things can happen, or you can come across things that you wouldn't expect to come across. We've had a number of those. Yeah, like Sasquatch, as we talked about. He's not here tonight, but maybe he'll come back one day.
Well, his hair is everywhere. Yeah. We did an episode with Sasquatch. I mean, now it's been like 4 months. And we're still finding strands of hair of Bigfoot all over the studio.
Most beverages we get from the treasure chest have little remnants of Sasquatch on them.
He did get in there.
He did. But yeah, throwing it out to stuff that is just either strange, funny, scary, whether
Weird
we've come across it,
encounters.
or whether we've read about others who've come across it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'll start us with kind of an easy one.
Please do.
We were just talking off mic, and Paul was thinking along the same lines as me.
Good job, Paul.
When I think of that, I think of when you're out there and you come across something that is completely unexpected, and you ask the question of like, how in the hell did that happen, or did that get there? So I remember Paul reminded me we were at Dolly and hiking through, and around Dolly you can kind of see traces of railroad tracks, or where there used to obviously be a track, or maybe it was used for carting in materials or whatever.
They use Dolly for all kinds of shit. Thinking of weird encounters, the second you get in a Dolly, they have signs about explosives.
That's right. Look for mines.
Yeah, so there's
grenades
there's
and
two at Dolly.
bombs
and so with that, we came across like this huge, not a gear, but a huge. I think we defined at some point it was a train wheel, but this massive piece of metal just sitting randomly in the middle of the trail.
Yeah,
and it would just sort of beg the. I was like, what in the world is that? One, and how did it even get here? Yeah, and you kind of have to. What's cool about it is you kind of have to deduce. It's like, okay, well, this must have been used for something at some point, because if this used to be a train track, then it would make sense that this used to be it's just some random wheel that somebody freaking left here. But you might come across old ordnance and just bombs that are out there in the wilderness.
I have a question, because we've seen that the mines, the bombs, grenades, all that kind of stuff in the Dolly Sods area. One, why?
I think it was a proving grounds.
I think so.
Like
usually it's because it's testing grounds. Like out in Worcester, there's areas out there. Anytime, especially a lot of hunting grounds, if it's designated for hunting or for anything like that, it probably at some point was used for testing or for those types of things. And when things get left out there.
So that's my first question. My second question: they have those signs up like it's an active problem. When was the last time do you think anybody found anything?
Oh, recent.
I don't know. Paul, help us out with that one.
I mean,
Dolly Sods,
it's
bombs.
I
mean, especially for like
ordinances,
there was. I used to do training out in. I think I said Worcester. I meant Ravenna. So in Ravenna, there's training areas out there and stuff, but it's not uncommon to come across stuff.
Interesting. Listen to this. This is hilarious. Okay, so I'm just reading an LA Times article right now. This was published in 1997 in July. It says, when you're in Dolly Sods, make sure to follow these few rules. Don't litter, don't feed the wildlife, and don't play with bombs.
There you go.
Wow. I never heard those first two before, but I shouldn't have littered and fed the animals when we were there.
Shouldn't have. Yeah, no.
It's kind of funny. I think back our first trip, was Dolly Sods, and I remember researching it and reading that.
Yeah.
And thinking, what are we getting ourselves into? Like, why are we going here?
Why are we going to this place?
And I think in my mind, I just assumed, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And
well, it's one of those
we've
things.
been there
they've
twice
got to
and
be
not
cleaned up by now.
It's
for
one of
the
those
most
things
part.
that that sign's never coming down.
No,
I mean it's at a point. It's
No, they have to cover their ass.
right,
Totally.
At
listen,
some point,
if you're
there could be
following
nothing out
Leave
there.
No Trace, you're sticking to the
True.
trail.
Right.
True.
So I imagine if you just go bushwhacking and you're like somewhere off, you know, in a field or whatever, like there's a pretty, I don't want to say decent chance you would find something, but there's a chance.
And if
for
not
sure.
that, you'll something that the areas that have been used for other purposes at some point, there's going to be stuff left over.
Yeah,
You're gonna come
remnants,
across
right?
it.
I was just little bit of Paul was just kind of scrolling, looking around, and this post was like kind of an older one, but they were like, if anybody comes across it, it's more of like people who are bushwhacking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not very common,
Right.
especially with like it's been so established on the trails for so long. It's probably crazy rare to find something, so it's probably not. What is that one? That one says we heard a sound of an explosion coming from Dolly somewhere. When was this posted?
What?
2023.
Yeah, that stuff's probably people at fireworks doing stupid shit. I mean,
Maybe.
it's
Well, you're not allowed to do that. That's for
right.
sure.
Look at how lush and pretty that is.
And I'm
though.
pretty sure
Yeah,
there's no
makes me
hunting
miss-
over there either.
Yeah, it's
So-
well, and maybe that's another piece of it too. Is
Dude,
like it's
hearing an explosion out on the trail, that would be f***ing weird and alarming.
well, yeah,
A little scary.
that's
I mean-
not the sound you expect to hear. When you're in the wilderness.
Yeah, unlike when I'm at home and I hear explosions, I'm just like, whatever. If I was on
I'm
the
just
trail,
eating
that
these
would be weird.
nachos. Yeah.
I mean, dude, I guess I hear that sometimes in my house too. It's kind of strange. So, but you're in a home, you don't
No.
expect anything to happen. I mean, you're in a tent, and that's a
Any
little different.
explosion's weird, but I agree.
Right.
It is odd,
out of place.
unexpected.
Beautiful, that photo.
But it is
That was nice.
so anyway. The train thing was it was unexpected and cool and makes you think of like, oh yeah, this wasn't always just sort of here for this purpose.
What's
It's things
interesting about
happening.
that too, because I can't remember like some specifics, but you'll randomly find stuff like a train, rail nail or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like
Big
God,
wheel
those are
pike.
huge.
what's
Yeah.
interesting about that, like just finding like a random like train wheel is like, where's the rest of it? Why is it out here by itself? Like usually you would think it would be like by old tracks or
Right.
other like, oh, here's an old box car.
Well,
or
and that was
something
what
like
was
that.
interesting. And Paul,
It's like it fell
I think
from
I'm
the
remembering
sky,
it correctly. Is where it was on this section where it got oddly flat, and there's like a trail. There's no tracks anymore, but it was very flat, and not because of traffic and foot traffic and it had been carved out. It was just you could tell that was carved out for a purpose, and there very obviously used to be. When you think about it, it's like there used to be a train track here.
Yes,
There had to be, because otherwise, why would it look exactly like this?
Right.
Yeah, right.
And then it's like, oh, now it makes sense that I'm seeing weird train paraphernalia.
I think a good
all
thing
over
to
the floor.
remember too, and I don't have a really like profound explanation or thought with it, but think of how areas around like where you grew up, right? Like areas that get like abandoned or something, or think about. And Austin, you were in real estate for a period of time. Like, think about a house that hasn't been lived in for a year. Even if nobody's been there fooling around or like doing anything,
Right.
things just fall apart.
Yeah.
And like even like there are homes in neighborhoods that just get like reclaimed by
true.
nature and stuff. And think about, dude, 40, 50 years of a train track. I mean,
Yeah,
this
it's true.
stuff's gone.
Right,
It's
but-
gets covered up
but
and
what's
nature
cool is-
consumes it.
Yeah,
It
it's true.
consumes it, but there is still the trace of,
Yeah.
like, you could tell after when you think about it, you could tell even though that infrastructure isn't there anymore, the impact on the like the landscape is still there, even though it's been completely overgrown. So
Totally.
you can
It's
see kind of the remnants
It's
of it.
funny
cool.
that you bring that up. Like, I just want a zombie movie where there's no zombies or people, and I can just see how nature took over, like a mall with just like stuff
yeah,
overground.
dude.
I
So
love
I
that
Am
stuff.
Legend type stuff.
I
you
Am
want
Legend. You
Legend?
see New
Yeah.
York City, just like there's
Yeah.
deer in the middle of Times Square with
Yeah.
like
Chilling.
trees and grass, and you're like, that's cool. I like that. I don't
Yeah.
care about everything
I
else.
think back to we did a car camping trip last year to Ohio Pile, and if you guys remember, there was, I think I was with you guys, maybe I was just with my kids and Allison, but there was like an old hotel I think I wasn't with you guys.
Yeah,
No,
now
we
with
weren't
us.
there.
There was a hotel, and it was very clearly marked. There was like a plaque that said, "Hey, here used to be yada yada yada," and you could see like the outline of the imprint of like where the building was with blocks and whatnot. But it was very, I mean, nature had just completely
nothing.
Yeah.
covered it. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, cool. Like trying to envision however many years ago there being a hotel there was just dumbfounding. It's like, no, there wasn't. There's no way.
It's so funny because like there's a lot of that in the United States where like they'll be like, this was Andrew Jackson's home, and it's
Yeah.
like 7 blocks, but then you go over to like Rome and it's like thousands and thousands of years old, the Colosseum and all this kind of stuff that like are still standing here. Like you saved 7 blocks of like Andrew Jackson's home. Like what? It's like 300 years old, less than that. It's like, come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, but no, that's kind of stuff is cool, and I mean, there's tons of that when you look on the trail. Like there'll be weird little structures of rock that were obviously intentionally built, but just kind of left, and just begs the question: oh, what happened there? Why is that what it is?
So on that note, and I didn't come to this episode thinking this would come up, so this is cool. If you guys remember, and I believe it's Linville, and Paul, I'll have to have you check this and tell me if I'm right, but there's a plane crash.
I'm trying to find it. I'm literally going through because I have in my April options
I'm
on
pretty
all trails.
sure
I remember we talked
There was
about
one of the
Linville.
trails that had the plane crash. I don't think it's Linville. I think it's up over in like West Virginia or PA or something like that.
Like how recent? How long ago?
Like years ago.
Years ago?
Transport plane.
I'm
think.
And it just
trying
was
to
left
find
there.
the trail.
I don't think it's that.
I'm trying. It
Paul,
wasn't Linville.
Search like backpacking trips, plane crash or something.
I literally am trying to find that right now.
That's crazy. I've never heard this.
I thought someone said that we were hiking and someone thought they saw it.
No, we were trying to plan the trip, and I had thought I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, but I'm like, this is kind of cool. But there's a plane crash that we can go see.
Yeah,
and there's still
it's
stuff
in the
all
middle
over.
of the woods, and you can see messed up.
Is it
trees.
Yeah.
Mount Mitchell? I see Mount
That's what
Mitchell
it's
there.
saying right here.
I
Yeah.
found the plane crash at Hanging Rock.
No way, it was Mount Mitchell.
Did you look up Linville again?
Wait, why are there several plane crash sites in North Carolina?
Well, okay, so let's also remember
that
this.
is the birthplace of flight.
Yeah, that's the birthplace of aviation right there, bro.
But guys, Linville Gorge is where they test fighter jets.
Oh,
They
really?
fly fighter jets in the
Yeah.
gorge.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
those
think I
things
knew
aren't
that.
crashing.
I'm just saying. There's
It's
all
all
sorts
the Wright
of things.
brothers. It's like just scattered pieces all over the place. From
They're
them
they're
trying to
walking
fly.
on the wings.
Yeah. Hey, dude, listen to this. This is a crazy weird thing. I have like an uncle who did that, or like a great uncle that did that. He would like walk between the airplanes.
Really?
Like,
Like
walk-
like really?
Yeah.
Like on
That's
the wings
horrifying.
across?
No kidding.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, look at
crazy.
that. All right.
Insane. Anyways,
That's some daredevil type stuff, man.
Dude, one of these trails that I have on my list, it says danger, closures in effect. Oh, I guess we're not going here.
I guess
It's only
not.
15.9 miles anyways.
hey Paul, just look up backpacking trip plane crash, and that's it. No,
Yeah, no North
Linville.
Carolina. Maybe we're being too specific.
I thought it was
It
Three
sounds like
Ridges
it's more
Loop.
common than just one trail, though.
Yeah, holy
Cranberry.
shit.
I see Cranberry. Plane crash. It is Cranberry.
It is
Remember?
Cranberry,
It is
West
Cranberry.
Virginia. There you go.
We talked about
I thought
that.
it was in West Virginia, but I didn't think it was in Cranberry.
in West Virginia.
Yeah.
No, I know that. I thought that the trail was in West Virginia,
It
but I
is
didn't
in West
think
Virginia.
it was Cranberry.
But
in West
Cranberry
Virginia.
is in West Virginia.
Trail,
I'm
not
sorry.
the
I'm
artist.
just being a jerk. All right.
I'll see you guys later.
I do remember talking about that. I thought while we were actually on the trail.
Is George
I remember-
Washington? Is George Washington National Forest? Is that near Cranberry?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it would be near Cherry?
Yeah, this is cool.
Sorry.
Just leave.
I'm trying to spice
Yeah,
things up.
I think this is. I think it's like that famous plane crash in Reykjavik, Iceland. I think there's a famous one
Yeah,
there
yeah,
too
yeah.
that every photographer in the universe has photographed.
Yeah.
That stuff to me, and I know we're getting a little off topic, but I guess we're talking about weird stuff.
No, that's
that
weird.
are
That's
on
weird,
the
man.
trail, but it's really fascinating to me seeing the reclamation of nature and how nature is just so powerful. I think it reinforces that notion that we talk about so much.
Nature is undefeated.
There it is.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
And that doesn't matter. That's not just for survival, but for Yeah, dude, I love a dilapidated barn.
Yeah.
Because they're just falling apart.
Just like leaning.
Yeah, dude.
It's like about
it's
to
got
collapse.
holes everywhere.
Yeah.
There's planks that have come off because, it's just nature's going to make its way.
Push it over.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, what's the practical, the practical aspect of this too is like, why is it there? It's not worth taking it out. Like,
you can't, dude.
If you can't, it's not
You
like the
can't,
effort it would take, and why would you?
So
you know,
expensive
why
to
would
do.
you
You'd
need
have
to do it? And to switch, like this is a plane that I don't know the reason behind the crash or if there were people on it. God forbid, but there's so many.
imagine
there was
were.
absolutely
Yeah.
people.
Well, if they perished, I guess is what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
sure.
But
Right.
so sort of transitioning to the morbid piece of that is like that's evidence of tragedy, and it's strange and it's cool looking, and after the fact, it's cool to see nature take it over. But it's a bad thing that happened.
Yeah, it's
you look at
devastating,
like
right.
Everest, same kind of thing. Is that with people
Bodies.
Oh,
And
bodies.
it's like
Yeah.
there's instead of plane wreckage, there's bodies,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
like they can't get them down, or it's not worth the risk to do so.
Right.
And
It's
that's
like
now
the
part of
environmental
the
impact, is lesser than the danger to make.
That makes me sad, and it makes
Yeah.
me like kind of hate that the Everest climb.
That's just,
Well, yeah.
dude. It's not just Everest,
And it's
though.
not just
No,
Everest.
I
every
know, but
Himalaya.
Everest
And even,
is
I mean,
the
it's-
example,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
It's the main example.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, there's
right.
that can happen, but it's a lot. I want to say a lot, but these types of things you might see out there might be remnants and evidence of like terrible things, but it's like there's that history. It's like this happened here. It was a big deal.
Paul just stumbled upon a website that is listing all plane crash
Yeah,
hikes.
Oh my
dang.
gosh.
That's wild.
Look at that. There's one in
I
Virginia.
don't like the fact that there's this many plane crashes. I don't.
I mean, you look how old
something
these are,
you,
though, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
these are
25
old. This
minutes.
is like look
These
at-
are ancient.
that is a bicycle attached to it. That is a Wright brother.
I mean, that's like a passenger.
Well,
plane.
there's the one in Cranberry.
There's
a
the
Piper
Cessna.
PA-23. Look at
They're
that.
all like Cessna,
spruce knob.
Cessna.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not
Small-
seeing. You're not
Hey,
seeing.
I
A
don't
lot of
like
these are like Air
767s
Force,
flying down.
small Air Force planes. So
I don't
like
like the fact that the Pipers are going down.
That's the third Piper on the
That's
list
my
that's gone down.
that's my family's aviation company.
Oh sure.
It's not.
It's not anymore.
Actually, it's funny enough though. When my grandfather was alive, I remember him. We went to Texas to go visit him. This is so off topic. I'm really sorry, but we're talking about it.
That's all right.
We got off the flight. We went to dinner, and he was wearing a Piper hat. And I'm like, "Where'd you get a Piper hat?" He's like, "I went somewhere and met this guy that worked at Piper Aviation, and I was like, my last name's Piper. Can I buy your hat?" And he's like, "Here, you just have it."
That's awesome. That's sweet.
Epic.
Well, that's
great.
cool. Maybe we got to go find a plane crash hike.
Maybe.
Yeah,
To me, and this is where this
Kinda
is
cool.
so goofy to say that this is like the sense of adventure, but I look at this as like if we were out on one of these trails, let's absolutely go find it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's
would
like a
definitely-
scavenger hunt, man.
Definitely, yeah.
It is. I did just find an outside article that said this plane crash site used to be a popular hiking destination. National Park Services officials are not happy about people going off trail to find it.
Yeah.
Well,
I can't.
ruh-roh.
I
mean,
imagine.
Then
But-
make a new trail to it, so
Right,
people
but-
don't.
yeah.
I get it.
They
It's an
probably
attraction.
have, unfortunately.
Yeah, I got you.
It's
Just
like
part of the
it's like
thing.
it's like an an old abandoned amusement park that still has like some of the rides up and stuff. It's that
Right.
sort of.
Oh,
It's that-
Geauga Lake.
yeah, exactly.
We've got that locally.
And
So
it's
I think
just
the one that I'm
cool.
thinking of is in Shenandoah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
the one you're thinking of is absolutely the Cranberry one because we all talked about it.
No, it wasn't a place that we've been to.
All right, enough
Yeah.
about planes. So we
planes, trains, automobiles.
I'll switch it up. I'll bring up something. This is not a personal experience. When doing a little bit of research on this episode topic, I kind of Reddit's a great place for something like this.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause people just always
Offbeat
put like
thoughts.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody actually on the backpacking subreddit, they were like, "Has anybody met any weirdos on the trail? Like, has anybody
I'm
had weird
sure.
See, this one
encounters?
makes me uncomfortable.
Anything like that?" And there were like a decent amount of posts, but this one was my favorite, and I'm just gonna read it real quick.
Yeah.
and I just get your thoughts. Once several years ago, while on a long backpacking trip on a seldom used trail, I hiked over a hill and came across an old-timey trapper's tent village. It was straight out of a Western movie: canvas tents, hitching posts, wood stove visible in the cook tent. It was completely deserted, save for one man. He was dressed like an Old West cowboy with a large hat, silk wild rag scarf, and a handlebar mustache. He called out to greet us, introducing himself as Charles Carl, the English cowboy, and invited us to come in out of the rain. He said he had stew on the stove if we were hungry. I'd been hiking a long way that day and had several kilometers left to go before camp. It was tempting, but we declined. I'd seen too many movies about kindly seeming strangers in the wood. My hiking partner and I trudged on through the rain. Had we just hallucinated? Was that a ghost? We hadn't seen a soul for 3 days, and all of a sudden an old cowboy appears. The next day we ran into a packed train of horses on the way up the trail. Turns out that a horse guiding company offered a Wild West experience, and this guy was like part of it. Charles Carl was a very legitimate camp manager awaiting his next guided group. I still wonder what would have happened if we would have stayed. I have a feeling the stew would have been very tasty.
That's awesome.
Bro, whoa.
But like, dude,
awesome. Crazy.
You haven't seen anybody for 3 days. You come across this like abandoned looking camp with like tents, canvas tents, and this old time was like, "Hi, you want some stew?"
How do you do?
And you're like,
That's
"What,
awesome.
dude?
Come on in
Wow.
my tent." Yeah,
That's
dude.
insane.
Dude, for sure would not have joined.
I will admit, when you started reading it, I was like, man, someone's just trying to get upvotes here out of this. They're trying to like put this good story out here.
But
The fact that
makes sense.
there was a resolution, right? 'Cause, like,
Right,
he
right.
could have stopped it, and I would have been like, "Dude, yeah, that's
No
weird."
way.
But
Yeah.
like, at least there was an explanation for it. But like, how odd would that have been to see something?
That's funny.
That's
like,
really
pretty cool.
you stumble upon somebody doing
Like,
a
what?
historical
I was gonna say it's
reenacting.
like walking. Yeah, it's like you just happen across a Civil War reenactment. And it's like,
Yeah.
what is
what is
going on?
happening?
Did I die and wake up in 1842?
See, it's interesting. Being without knowing at the end, like that it was part of a whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
I would have been like, when it said it was later on in the day.
Yeah, I mean, he said he had stew, and like they were like hiking all day, and it was wet. I mean, they said, "Do you want to come in for
I would
rain?"
have been so paranoid
That he was
to
gonna
have
follow
been
you.
so close to wherever his camp was that he would have followed.
Yeah.
and like done something crazy.
Well, that makes me think.
so
Yeah.
I would have had to hike way
That's
further.
a good point. I probably would be like, "Do we have to go another 8 miles?"
we can't be that
we would
close.
have to
Yeah,
at least
that's
go
fair.
another 4 miles, and we're not doing a campfire, and we're not making any noise.
And I'm probably not sleeping.
I'm sleeping with my hatchet. Like hell no.
That's why strength in numbers is
That's true.
I will say,
That's true.
When we determined that we were going to do this episode, there was a part of me that was like, man, I really don't want to do any research on this because I don't want to go out there and be spooked.
Dude, it's like
Yeah.
when we did our it was our second Articles episode. We did like a haunted version for
Yeah,
Halloween
man.
that one time. It was like we talked about people like that were getting killed on the trail. Like there were psychopaths that are on the AT that have been famous for this, that have gone like into jail for killing somebody and like somehow got out and like went back and did it again.
Ugh.
And like that stuff happens. And
my mind always goes, and this is where I thought that story was going.
very
was that
rarely does
they
it happen,
would-
but it does happen.
that they would get to camp, and then like that night, like they'd see him just sort of like on a hill, just like
Hattie.
staring at them or
Looking
whatever. It's like that.
Yeah.
That's
Somehow has like a rocking chair and he's just
Right.
like going back and forth.
He's eating his beans out of a tin can.
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
This is the second most upvoted one. This is even better. My most memorable encounter was a man snacking on a block of cream cheese like a candy bar. And that's it. Just a dude gnawing on cream cheese out in the woods.
That's
Weird, dude.
I can taste that, like feel that in my teeth right now.
Yeah,
Like,
I love
don't-
cream cheese,
I
but
don't
just
hate
like
it.
eating
But a
it.
block of it? Like,
Block
I
of
don't
cream
know.
cheese.
hey man.
There's a bunch of things that I've seen that are like the stories like that of like over in the Sierra Nevada area in California where people are like just they're solo out by themselves and they run into someone that's just like a watcher and there's a random person
Yeah, I'm not
just
okay with that.
watches you as you hike or as you're camping and like that is so uneasy to me like we luckily have not had that on the trail. We've not ran into anyone that has not been friendly.
Brian,
Right.
we have. Do you guys remember when we went to, I think it was the Red, and we're day one, we're hiking out, and then all of a sudden, like we run into these like two like teenage kids, and they didn't have they were maybe in Chuck Taylor's or something like that. They didn't look like they were going to be overnight hiking at all. And then, they passed us, and then we saw them again, and then we saw them again.
Dude, I don't remember
this at all.
You don't remember that?
Not at all.
No.
Yeah, they kept just coming out of the woods, out of nowhere, and we're like,
"Do you remember this?
We passed you guys
Are you sure it was with us?
Paul.
Yes, 100%.
I didn't go to the Red, so I wouldn't know.
Yes,
bro.
It was all on day one, and it was within
listen,
the first maybe 5 or 6 miles.
4 out of 5 people.
I don't know how you
this
guys
room that were on that trip.
No clue what you're talking about.
The 3 of us don't know.
I can't believe you guys don't remember this.
I'm
Maybe it was
scared
a
now.
ghost.
Now I'm
on
definitely
the first
not going back to the
when it was
Red.
raining a little bit.
Yeah, they were it seemed weird because they didn't have any pack. Huh. They maybe had a small day pack.
They were translucent and floating. And we're saying,
did they have
kept
legs?
saying boo.
Well, you said they were wearing Chuck Taylor, so they must have had legs.
I'm more
I
freaked
don't
out than none of
remember
us.
that.
Yeah,
What
that's
kind of
crazy.
candy were you eating, Paul?
Paul, did you feel like these dudes were scouting you guys out?
It seemed like we were just being tracked, we were cattle, and they were wolves. They because after the second time, I was like, all right, this
Something's
is kind of
not right.
Yeah, we've passed you guys, and then all of a sudden you guys are
something right.
yeah, and then they were just literally coming out of the woods.
Were we set up at that camp? It was this one area where we went up a little bit, and there was a huge flat area that first night where we camped. And it was raining. We set up the the tarp.
Yeah,
it was before that.
Before that,
yeah, we hadn't seen them.
So we didn't see them at camp.
No.
Man, that is amazing to me that I have no memory of that at all.
We only hiked 2 miles to get to camp.
It was 2 kids.
Huh.
That's
Dang.
crazy.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
So-
We're gonna have to go back and check your photos to see if there's orbs or some shit in all the photos or whatever.
There's a shadow in the corner. Yeah.
So it's funny. This is a good little topic though too, because isn't it crazy how your just kind of senses go off when something just doesn't feel right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. I don't know if we've had many occasions like this on the trail, so to speak. That just feel really uncomfortable. I think we've run into some terrain that maybe we really made us stop and think, but I don't think we've had anything where it was oh crap.
But it's
this is weird.
Yeah, that. So I have 2. There's funny weird, which is a person we came across, which we're all going to instantly recognize, but cast iron pan guy.
Oh yeah.
So that
barefoot ladies.
I was gonna talk about that at Manus Day.
Barefoot ladies. I'm
Both
talking
were
about.
there.
I'm talking about 60-pound pack with the cast iron.
Yeah. That was Manus Day too, wasn't it?
I think this is more these are characters.
These are characters.
Yeah.
So there's
Innocent
that
characters.
But the sort of the weirdness and the
Harmless.
uneasiness is and for context, the cast iron guy, his pack was a mile high, and it must have weighed 80 pounds.
He had
almost
hash
fell.
browns,
He
he
almost
had
fell.
everything.
We caught him from falling.
I
into
think
a creek.
Alex caught him. Saved
And
the
then,
pierogies.
Yeah, he was telling us about pierogies and steak and his huge cast iron pan.
Yeah.
And he was just a ridiculous person.
Bro was eating on the trail.
Yeah, he's just a monster. So, but
Can't
yeah,
hate
the uneasiness is I'll get that. I have instances of that when I'm either in my tent,
Yes.
and I know, or just at night if I'm staring out into sort of the black, and it's just that weird well, I don't know why I'm nervous, but I am, and then it kind of just
Yeah.
goes away eventually.
Man, I
and
don't know if I've ever felt that.
I
You know
have
what
that usually.
You know what I'm really
once a
thankful
trip.
for? I'm really thankful for at the end of every day when we're out backpacking, being tired.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
had an instance out there, and
Just can't get
sometimes
to
I have
sleep.
a coffee in the evening, whatever. But I've never had a problem really just. I get to my tent and I can't fall asleep. I've never had that issue.
Oh, I have.
imagine, and I was going to say, I'll bet you have. But I imagine if I had difficulty falling asleep, I would probably
Your brain
be in
would
my
just
own
start
head,
thinking about
and I would just start
Yeah.
absolutely reeling.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why Paul
that's
Paul
interesting.
kindly reminded me in an interview thing that we did. I don't know if these have released yet. I'm not sure, but that I will, if you guys are going to bed early,
Yeah.
I have
Little
at
cinema.
times pulled up my phone and had a movie on or something like that where I'll
Good
watch Free
distraction.
Solo or
Yeah.
Don Wall or Grandma's Boy or something stupid.
Grandma's boy.
Yeah. Whatever.
Meanwhile, the old
but maybe-
prospector's sitting over there just watching your tent, just waiting for
Would
you.
you like some stew?
Come on, boy. Why don't you go to bed?
Wait for that cell phone glow to just disappear.
Why is it
time.
glowing? Oh my god, clinking in the
Just
background.
turn off that light, boy.
My thing is always like when it's at night and it's late. It's always like I'm not like. There's always weird sounds, right? The woods are loud.
They're live, man.
Yeah.
Shit. And but dude, it's always like.
Yeah.
You and owls, man, have a problem.
Dude, always, man, and I always hear, and it's just
I don't
like
think I've ever heard
I
an
never
owl.
hear him, and Austin's always talking about
Oh,
owls.
dude, I
never
always hear it.
owls.
I
I
always
heard
hear it.
coyotes that one time, or wolves, or whatever the hell it was.
across
Where were
the
we?
valley.
We heard them fighting. Like
They were.
That was
I
the
felt
yeah.
like
it was
Cranberry?
Cranberry.
That was
Cranberry, yeah, I remember
felt
that.
like they were very close
They
to
were
our
going
campsite.
nuts.
I think
Yeah.
that's
I think
spooky.
it's one of those things that like it's either like closer than you think or farther away than
Yeah,
you think.
yeah.
It's like, I
Yeah,
can't
well,
remember
and-
which one it is, but
and
it's like
unfortunately, our imaginations are incredible. So
Right.
without really knowing what
Well,
it
and
is,
you know,
your
you
brain,
can't-
of course,
yeah.
is going to the
you
worst
can't,
case
you
scenario.
can't see 5 feet, and
Was
it's
that
like
the first night where we hiked in at
It
night?
was. It was.
It was on
and
your
we
sunset- your
talked
sunset
about
picture,
that
yeah.
photo
It was
of you
the
looking
first
over
night.
the ridge.
Yeah. It was the first night.
and there's also
Crappy
like
campsite,
dude,
really.
the wind-
Other
Great
than
picture,
the view.
though.
the
Yeah.
wind was like so is always like insanely on, especially like when you stay on a
Sods
red
night one.
like literally like
gosh.
like fighter jets
Yeah.
just flying over. I remember
Yeah.
that's how like Linville was the first night. It was just
You know what's even weirder though?
so loud.
What's
dude.
even weirder than the noisiness and the craziness of nature is when it gets real quiet. Because there's times where it's like,
It's just nothing.
You can
not.
just
See,
hear
here's the
your
thing,
heart
I don't
thumping
think-
in your chest.
and you're like, man, that's
I feel like
eerie.
I never get the like it's always loud as when everybody's quiet and you're done hustling, like doing anything, and there's no fire, and you sit down, you get in your tent, and you're laying down.
If we're not
and everyone's
near-
quiet, it is so loud.
man.
It's louder than just when we're hanging.
there's been
You know-
times if we're not near water, and there'll be lulls, and you know if the bugs
I
aren't
agree.
chirping, like, and it just gets it's just dead, and you're like, and it's real uneasy. when
I'm
there's
just
no-
thankful
no
that
noise.
my superpower is the ability to fall asleep very quickly
So
in any
fast.
circumstance.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And just stay asleep.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if I were in my own head, I'd probably need movies or something.
Yeah.
Or and then
music
at
or
that
something.
point you start thinking you're hearing sounds that you're not. actually
100%.
hearing. And it's like you
that
know.
imagination.
I'm still thoroughly convinced that at Perry when we were on the dam that a raccoon was going through my pack because I woke up and I heard shuffling
Oh no!
and I went stiff as a board.
It
I
was
like
the old prospector.
I was just like this
Looking
for
for
you
some
know
crackers.
2 minutes and then I could have not been awake. I don't know. It could have just been my brain doing its
I
thing.
can't
but
believe
it
this
was,
hasn't come up,
you know.
but you say this. So last time Allison and I in I think it was like October did a trip with our kids to Ohio Pile. Allison woke me up in the middle of the night and she goes, "What is that? Do you hear that?" And first off, I don't ever want to be woken up and ask
Definitely
that
not that
question
way.
while I'm outside in a
What is
tent.
that? Go check.
And of course, like we had gotten our stuff put away. We were responsible, but my gut was it was a raccoon or
Yeah.
like a deer.
Yeah.
And like I shuffled the edge of the tent, like made some noise just to try and kind of deter it. And of course,
Hey,
kids
bear.
in the tent. I'm like, oh crap, dude.
Yeah.
Like those are the scenarios where it's like, why is this me? Why
Was
is
that
this
night
me?
one or night two?
It was
Night one.
I think it was the first night. Yeah.
Okay, so we weren't there for that.
Judging from
a different trip.
Yeah.
The second time when we
the
went
second
back.
time you went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Judging from
but
our
that trip,
experience,
we did see
yeah.
raccoon prints on our cart.
yeah,
I remember,
Okay.
yeah.
Judging from our experience at West Branch, though, I mean, they're raccoons.
West
They
Branch for sure was
walked
raccoons.
right up to
I mean,
us.
we
They
were
were
there.
like, "Hey guys,
They were
I'm gonna
friendly.
eat you."
we were
You're
basically
back.
we were basically playing cards.
Dude,
with those
talking
raccoons.
about
I mean, it was like dude,
talking about weird encounters, they were literally feet away from us, just like trying. Like I don't know what they were just trying to get whatever food they could.
They knew
That
They're
was
so used to
that.
that wasn't a weird. That was quite possibly one of the funniest moments
It was
of camping
wild.
ever.
I remember having to get like a stick. You're like, get out of here!
Yeah.
Don't get.
Yeah, they're basically like neighborhood cats.
Yeah.
but for campsites.
We were
like
Yeah.
one
Whatever.
step
They know
away.
the good spots.
We were like
Yeah.
one step
definitely.
away from the dogs playing poker photo, of
Yeah.
just with raccoons.
Yeah,
Exactly, dude. New York City has pigeons. West Branch has the raccoons. You know, they're just always there.
yeah. Although I don't know, New York City's got some rats that are the size of raccoons.
That's true. Yeah, it's probably similar.
Row.
Gosh,
Yeah,
that was
not
such
like
a
that.
funny night.
That was wild. It was
a lot happened. On that
I'm
night.
gonna ask a question.
happened that night.
What did he say? What did he say?
You're right.
Brian
A
did
lot
a
hap-
little,
a lot
little
happened.
screaming at the ground.
A lot happened. We can't talk about on the podcast that night.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Anyway, well, damn, I was gonna kind of ask a thoughtful question.
Go ahead.
All right, so how do I ask this?
Just let her
Cautiously and carefully.
How common do you think it is for any backpackers to bring a gun for protection?
Probably more common than we think.
I would agree.
I
We've
think
never
maybe
seen
out
it, but I
west
mean, you're
more.
not gonna unless you like ask about it or something. I mean, I bet you on the trips we've been, I bet you every trip we've been on, at least one person or group that we've come across has been packing.
Yeah.
You think?
I mean, yeah.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know how you. It's difficult to say for sure, but I would say there's probably more, and I would agree too. I think it's certainly, if you're scared, I mean that'll put a little more confidence in your step for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, even then, I mean, depending if you're running across like a grizzly bear, I mean, I hate to say it, it's not going to do a ton.
Well, the best it's going to do is scare it away, and that's the
Right.
hope, right? I mean, so
Bear spray is more.
Well,
Is
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
Is a better.
Unless you
option.
get a really good aim and you shoot in the head.
well,
Well,
even then,
I don't know.
depends on what you're
Scary.
packing. Yeah, a little, 22. I don't know what's gonna.
Yeah, dude.
But no, I think it's probably more common than we think, and I've thought about that a lot. It's but then again, it's for us. There's 8 of us, 6 of us, 5 of us, whatever.
jump 'em.
It's like
No.
I don't. Not that we're immune and invincible at that point, but I mean, if you're sort of rolling deep and you got a group,
It's a little
that's
different.
way
Yeah,
different than
I-
you just being out there, and you might not see anybody for 3 weeks.
I
And
think
it's like,
I think the scale of the size of our group for sure
Yeah,
is
it's a big deal.
a big deterrent to
Yeah.
anything. And I mean, we've talked about this to some length. We don't see a lot of wildlife ever on any
Yeah,
trip.
not really.
I wasn't really thinking wild.
right. I'm getting where Austin was going.
people.
I think
I understand, but I
Yeah.
guess I'm just saying if you were to take a weapon out for that reason,
Right.
that wouldn't be a reason enough for our group.
Sure.
But
And
I understand. I get,
and that's
I get what you
where
mean.
the numbers thing for me too is like, okay, if somebody is out there and we happen to come across that, rare and terrible occurrence of people being crazy and wanting to do bad shit,
Right.
It's like it's nice to know you got some muscle.
Yeah.
Because
An
This
equalizer.
says
Yeah.
this says in the U.S. estimates for firearm ownership among outdoor enthusiasts, including backpackers, are often around 5 to 10%.
Okay, so maybe less than you would think.
Maybe less than I think.
First trip that I went on, I brought a gun.
Yeah.
Did you?
Did you?
Yeah,
What'd you bring?
9mm.
James
Yeah.
Bond over here.
Were you solo or were you?
James Bond.
No, it was with my wife and best friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was our first trip, and then
Yeah.
I haven't brought one since.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you wanted
What was
to be
what was it for?
prepared.
It's
For,
too
for
heavy.
animal or for were you just like just in case?
How many grams was
I mean,
it?
it was like the first thought was another person. It
Yeah.
wasn't really animal. That wasn't
Yeah.
the threat. It was just another person. If they were
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
See,
You
I
can never know.
find that the more I think about that scenario occurring, the more kind of freaked out I get about it. But I guess I feel like how many nights have I spent out in the woods at this point?
Nothing's happened.
And again, I'm being totally optimistic on this point, but if that, like you said, if that rare occurrence were to happen,
And I think part of it is
I
like,
don't know.
all right, part of it is you got to measure. There's a statistical piece to this because you're either so remote that how would anybody even know where you are, right? Unless it's that weird occurrence where you come across some hermit who actually lives out there, and it's like,
Couple
okay,
teenagers in Chuck Taylors.
well, right,
yeah,
yeah, exactly.
You crossed a
it's-
couple times.
or it's the opposite, kind of like the Red and other places we've been, where it's remote, but it's near like a hub,
There's
and there's a
some
lot of
people
people
around.
and it's like,
Yeah.
it's not a place where, even though you're out there and you're remote and you may not be able to see anybody, not necessarily a place where things can happen without anybody noticing anything, right? It's
Right.
it would have to. the circumstances have to be very specific.
Yeah, right. Do the national parks have rules against firearms?
I think so.
I would imagine.
I actually don't know.
Paul, look it up.
If they do, I've never seen it.
I will say this: there's a YouTuber, Kyle Hates Hiking, I think is his channel. He's got a which is funny because he loves hiking.
He does a lot of hiking.
But a lot of his content is like weird encounters or strange things or like murders that happen on the trail and like that kind of stuff. So if you're a little scared about going on the trail, don't watch his stuff before you go on the trail.
Kyle, I will not be watching your YouTube channel, my friend. I'm sure it's exciting and riveting for many people.
It is pretty wild. I'll watch.
Okay, so real quick, so like it really, they don't have any specific laws. It's just complying with federal, state, and local laws. So they don't. National parks themselves don't have any like laws. Yeah. It's all about local.
Interesting.
That makes sense.
And I mean, it's kind of hard to because a lot of those places, some certain times of year, are hunting grounds, and you can like we went to Loyal Sock, and kicking off the trail, we walked out. And there was a guy.
Was that Loyal?
Manistee.
Maybe both.
It was Michigan. Because we woke up the first night, and there was a guy walking around. He's like, I was hunting around, just looking around.
We did hear that.
Yeah, blaze orange on.
Maybe that was it. He was out shooting squirrel.
There was another time, and
where Nick and Andrew met us
after,
and they were late, and we were like talking to that guy. Yeah, it might have been. Yeah,
I think Perry.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
because
come across hunters.
Yeah, we were talking to that dude before we went on the trail for a while. And he was going out to hunt.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the first times I think we would like saw somebody that was like actively going out with everything.
Right. Yeah.
Other than like over, because I don't think, Manistee would have been first. I think I thought I just heard stuff. Did we met someone that came out?
At our campsite.
At our campsite.
At Manistee?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The worst campsite.
He walked right through it.
The first one. He did walk through it.
He walked right through our campsite.
Yeah, because we
were on the trail.
That was horrible.
He didn't do anything wrong.
No, it was our campsite. Dude,
we had hiked in the middle of the night.
Okay,
and it was like,
so that
we needed
campsite,
a spot,
it was the middle of the night.
Yeah.
We had somehow still built a fire and had cheese. But we woke up with like ice on our tents.
Commitment.
Okay, so you talk about weird, eerie feelings. I felt weird and eerie that night.
Really?
On our way to that campsite.
Because we had to
second.
How
have we not talked about
Hold on, dude. Are you kidding me? Okay,
that was the
very
weirdest night
uncomfortable.
ever.
Spidey sense was definitely clicking.
Yeah.
We've talked about this on other episodes, but we got to set the stage up a little bit. We went to Manistee in Michigan, Manistee National Forest, and we knew where we were parking. We found the parking lot, but the trailhead to start this was a little iffy. It was a little hard to find.
Very hard to
find. And we
non-existent.
started really late. It was late at night.
I think we got there at 2
add
a.m.
additional miles onto it to make it longer. So we
did.
I think
those
some
additional
of it
miles effed everything up.
messed our planning
I think
up.
we maybe got. I mean, it was very dark. We maybe got there at 11 or close to midnight.
No, dude. I think we got there like closer to 1 or 2 a.m. Bro.
It was really
no, because we ended up camping.
We
got a few hours
camping
of
at probably like 2 or 3.
We got a few hours of sleep. We were hiking for like 2 hours.
Dude, we hiked forever. So here,
maybe 3.
Okay, so back on
we
track.
got to bed by 2.
All right.
Maybe
so
that's
back
what it
on
was.
track. So we're trying to figure. We're like kind of like walking around like this field and like these woods, and we can't quite find a trail. So we're like, all right, we need to regroup. So what we need to do is we need to walk this road and part of like a little bit of like a highway. Over to this other area, take this jaunt in, and then we'll sort of be on the trail.
How pretty that is.
Well, the road, before you get to the highway, you have to walk through like this neighborhood roads, but it's like double wides, right?
Yeah.
And it was dark. It was foggy.
We had headlamps.
Heavy fog.
And
Dude, we got a really cool epic picture out of that.
And it was
There's some
quiet.
cool photos.
It was quiet as shit.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know if anybody lived in these houses. I mean, it looked lived.
Yeah, they were asleep, dude.
No, I know, but it was just like
It was eerie.
it was like
eerie.
suspiciously quiet.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to walk through like a little like double wide neighborhood like that and it be just so quiet. So
that was that sense, like that apocalyptic sense of like, it's like, yeah, we know they're all in there sleeping, but it's like this is a dead town.
now, okay, but
it was a little spooky.
Here's the other part of that though, right? So like we get on the highway, whatever, great, dope photos. We got to pop a couple of them on there because the photos were
the fog
I'm
was
looking
just
at them right now.
ridiculous. Yeah.
So anyways,
sick. Yeah.
Those
so
were
we,
cool.
we got through that, whatever. Here's the other creepy part about that neighborhood.
It looks like we're on the moon, dude.
Yeah.
So we had to hike back to the car through that same neighborhood.
Yeah.
But it was during the day.
Fine.
Oh, no. No, it was not fine.
What part are you talking about?
It was the middle of the day, and we didn't see a single person.
I think we saw one person, I thought, in the window.
There was nobody there. And it was like...
They were watching us.
It was like a middle of a Sunday. And again, it wasn't like overgrown and abandoned. It was lived in not trailer park, but basically, double wide trailer park.
It was mobile homes, yeah.
And nobody was outside. It was the middle of the day. And it was like, what is happening?
I don't I didn't second guess that.
I definitely noticed that because I was like, where is everybody?
See, I don't think I'm ever nervous or scared because I'm with you guys. I feel like if I was out solo,
a lot of confidence and trust
I feel
here,
like
buddy.
if I was out solo, it would be a little different.
I
would feel
wasn't
more
scared.
strange.
I would not have walked through that.
I mean, this episode's about weird.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I would not have walked through that at night if I was by myself. I'd have been like, I'm going back.
Not
to
doing
bro.
that. Yeah.
I'm looking at our first
out.
campsite right now for
It
that
was
spot.
trash. It was trash.
It wasn't as bad as
It's
I
the
thought
kind of
it
neighborhood
was.
that you think there would at least be a dog.
The campsite was bad.
Right. And
Yeah.
and
It
actually,
would
I
scare the
remember
shit out of you. Yeah.
I remember in the moment when it was at night we were going through and the fog was heavy and it wasn't just our headlights, which so in the sort of street, of double wides and stuff, they had like a street light or whatever. So there was some illumination, but it was all fog. All you could see was just fog. And I remember one being weirded out, but two, I was like, I got to watch where I don't want to point my light inside somebody's window and then wake them
that's
up.
right.
And then the whole place lights up and we end up getting captured or something. I'm like, I'm sure.
We're over here. There's like 8 of us with the
Right, so I'm
headlamps
like
everywhere.
I was trying to keep my light straight and just kind of like, I'm just gonna get through
Just
this.
get out of here, dude.
We could have put it on the red mode.
Yeah, well, hey, man,
there's a second, and I think you guys will probably agree. There's a second campsite that was, and it wasn't on Manistee, but that I had a similar feeling on, and it was at Loyalsock. It was the night that it was. I think night 2. We were pretty tired. We were pretty whooped.
middle of the woods night.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, the one we got
ended
lost.
up. We got lost, and I mean, not for total lack of planning. We were pretty well prepared for it being our second trip.
We were still paper
disappeared.
The
mapping.
markers disappeared, and we were paper mapping. Yeah,
And I remember at one point we had looped back to a certain point, and it was like,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
here it is again. This is weird.
Yep.
And then it was getting dark, and I think we were kind of all like on the edge
we
a
were
little bit. We were a
whoops, and it was getting
little
dark,
bit
yeah.
freaking out. Where it was like, okay, and I remember, and since then we've done a really good job of managing time.
Mm-hmm.
And like, okay, it's getting dark. We really should start setting up. We set up our tents nearly in the dark. on that trip.
Yeah.
And what I didn't like personally, I remember thinking about back to it now, and what I didn't like about it was it wasn't like we were in a campground per se. It was like we were in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Right. We were,
It was
and
very
we just
remote.
found a spot that worked.
Yeah. It was
and
dark.
that felt
Yeah.
creepier than it would have if we were just at a camp spot that we found.
That was
Yeah,
when
that was the tree.
you and I
The
were
tree fell,
You and I
yeah.
were camping in my
Yeah.
tent together, and the tree fell, and I woke up. That was the best sleep I had on the trail until the last few trips, and I woke up one time, and it was because I heard a tree fall, and it was like, well, this is how I die.
Like this.
I get crushed
Here it
by a
comes.
tree
I
in
will
a tent
say-
next to Pfeiffer.
I will say, I don't fear that stuff, but I mean that's crazy. A tree falling is very likely. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
we walk around.
Well,
we
it's
see it
not
all the
very
time.
likely.
No,
But
not
it's-
very
I
likely.
mean-
But like,
it's possible.
You look all around every time we go. There's trees falling all over the place.
I don't-
when we're out
I
there,
don't
there's
really
dead
think about
trees
it.
everywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't think about, and actually I didn't wake up when it happened, but
I literally went
never
like
thought,
this.
Yeah, I never thought about it until
because this is gonna save me.
Yeah, dude.
It's just gonna put my elbow into my face.
Yeah,
I
it's,
remember it
oh,
waking
God.
me up, but I felt asleep quickly.
Oh, I was-
bike
It was
helmet
like,
next time you go.
done.
What's weird is because I
do shit either.
Yeah, it would.
A motorcycle helmet wouldn't. A big tree falling on you.
Yeah, just
Dude,
You need like a
you're
steel
it
cap.
would
grape.
flatten you.
You're a grape, dude.
it would
It's
flatten you.
a raisin.
It's you're nothing. But I remember the process of Like once I'm in my tent, I don't really get that. But like knowing we're setting up in a place that's like, it was just sketch. Like, but I think we still had a fire. I think we still had cheese.
We did because we sat on the log.
We still drank some whiskey and did the whole thing.
I remember, dude. I remember being exhausted.
Isn't it? You talk about the tent. Like once you're in your tent, isn't it crazy to think the confidence you get from a thin piece of fabric? Like just having like a wall out in the woods. It's like, once I'm in there and I can't see what's out there, I'm good.
It's the same thing when you're a kid and you get scared and you put your blanket over your head.
Yeah.
It's
like that's gonna do anything.
What does that do?
Like the false sense of security is outrageous.
Yeah. That's it.
You can't touch me. I have my blanket over my head.
Nobody in this tent. Nope, nobody's here.
It says something to the weight of the safety of a blanket.
Right, man.
We've not been the
ignorance is bliss, man.
ever.
I don't know what's out there. I don't need to know. I got.
We've not developed past 6 years old
so
apparently because we get as much security from that piece of nylon. That's
still I mean, not only a piece of nylon, the literal thinnest piece we can find, the lightest weight one.
Still peeing my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle PJs out in the camp out on the trail. So haven't developed past it.
Bringing those PJs, I love.
I will
that.
say, and actually, and I'm not afraid to admit this. So the spookiest thing on any trail ever to this day, and I think this will be true forever, is if I have to get up to go pee in the middle of the night. That is the most terrifying thing.
See, I think I've only got up to pee in the middle of the night one time.
I don't know why I'm so paranoid, but when I get up,
do you not go to the bathroom before you go to bed?
No, I do, and I don't have to go pee at in the middle of the night very often. But when it happens,
do you wake up in the middle of the night to pee?
No, not often. No, at
home,
like
at
never.
home.
No,
Yeah.
Never.
So
but on the trail, almost always,
don't you? Yeah,
almost always.
Yeah, Alex almost. It's maybe
Drinking
happened.
too much water.
Brian's taking
shits
shits at like 2 a.m.
I have done that before.
No,
not on the trail. Never on the trail for that.
You already talked about pre-digging your hole,
bro. That would terrify me.
I will never do that.
No, I would never do that either. On the trail.
You gotta do the glow stick. So the trick is you bring a glow stick. You crack it before you go to bed. You put it in the place you're going to pee. So when you have to pee in the middle of the night, you can see the glow stick and just go towards it.
That's not the problem. The
I'll
glow
get out of
stick,
the tent and I don't need to go far.
That's not the scary part.
You don't get
it. Alex just whips it out. Right, he unzips a little flap.
Off to the side.
Splash a little pee on your friend.
Listen,
but it's spooky.
Hold on. Let him talk. Tell him talk.
Alex, you're peeing on my tent.
Guys, let him talk.
Shut up. The 3 foot by 3 foot space where I'm peeing isn't the scary part. It's everything else.
Literally everything else.
So like
the vastness of black.
I'm not hiking a mile to go pee.
Bring 100 glow sticks.
Right. I walk out.
Put them everywhere.
It's like I walk out 5 feet from my tent. I'm like, this is good enough.
Yeah, I'm far enough.
But it's just looking out into complete black. That's where that quiet comes in.
You don't bring your headlamp out?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I do.
That doesn't make it any better.
So I can see.
Then you identify where you're at.
I can see exactly.
Yeah, but it only goes so far into the darkness.
Right, but still, all right. What good? That's even the scarier part is I can see exactly that one spot. Guess how much I can't see? Everything else.
No, I agree.
About 345 degrees.
What would you do if you went? Oh, dude, what would you do if you got out of your tent to go pee? You didn't turn your light on until you got out of like the fly area. You turn your light on, and then like 5 feet in front of you is just a dude.
Oh, dude.
Well, I mean,
I'd go on.
I would freak out.
What would you do?
I'd go straight.
Would you be frozen, or what would you?
I'd just murder.
Well, it wouldn't be murder.
Come out swinging. Don't be that guy.
It wouldn't be murder. That's not the right word.
I mean,
how can I help you?
Is the dude doing anything? It's not self-defense. Technically, he didn't do anything to you.
He scared me. That's assault.
That's not gonna help you.
He's in our area.
Sorry, Judge. He scared me.
He should have been standing. Should have been standing. He was too close to my tent. Yeah.
In all honesty, I would be scarred.
Oh,
Would you go backpacking again?
I would be so afraid.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And that's like
I can't even.
I want to record, like not me peeing. I want to record my headlamp when I do that because it's like.
Yeah, I'm out there quick as can be. It's like
you know what?
I just
had an idea.
It's a bobblehead.
This is how they get less people to crowd the national parks. You get a guy.
Oh no, dude! Someone's gonna get hurt. Dude's gonna get hurt.
We saw this dude in the middle of the night. We were peeing at 2 a.m. I'm never going camping again. Boom, right there we go. We're getting the quota down, baby. No more permits. No more timed entry. We're just gonna scare the shit out of people.
That guy better be getting hazard pay because if he comes across me, I'm messing him up.
Imagine
their life insurance.
That's going to be our prank on you. We're going to set up a scarecrow. We're going to bring like a
even
t-shirt.
If it was my friend, that would be tough, dude.
Man.
Hell no, I'd be pissed.
I'm just calling it out. Please don't. Don't ruin everything.
I got chills on my back just thinking about seeing someone out there going to the bathroom. Oh my gosh.
Yuck,
no,
dude.
thank you.
Yeah,
No.
This turned into a scare episode.
I'm just gonna let you guys know.
It evolved.
Don't try
It
that
ebbed
because
and
from now on, I'm keeping a pocket knife on me, even to go pee in the middle of the night.
Start bringing a gun like Paul.
See, I think
shurikens.
I have heard other people that take like a bottle in the tent and just pee in the tent.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in with someone else, that's a little uncomfortable.
I don't have good enough aim for that.
You don't need to aim. You just put it inside, guy.
You're not talking about a Pepsi bottle. Get the wide mouth.
That's road trip. I mean, that's road trip.
Yeah.
Right, dude.
Yeah.
You can't be stopping all the time.
The trucker.
You got to make good time.
Listen, we don't have to get into it, but have you heard of Piss Jug Man?
No.
All you
trucker
gotta do is
thing.
go on a road trip and there's bottles everywhere. Everywhere on the highway.
You just wear Depends.
Dude, on the highway?
I've never even thought of
Oh
it.
my gosh, yeah, dude.
Wow.
Bro,
Don't do that.
It takes like 2 minutes.
don't advocate.
Yeah, don't litter your urine in a
It's
bottle.
it's ridiculous.
But if you're
I've
gonna,
seen it on a few
you know,
trips where
you
there's
can-
like everywhere, dude.
Pissed
I mean, on the highway in the berm or whatever, but it's still like, come on,
Wow.
throw it away.
Jeez.
See, I don't even want to get into it. No, we gotta just move it. No, I can't even.
Hey, that's a tactic though. You skip some stops.
Here, all right. Let's do. Have you peed in a bottle before?
Yes.
All right, you've peed in a bottle.
Yeah.
I've thrown up in a bottle.
A bottle?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's hard.
That requires.
Did I not tell you this story? I mean, we're way off at this point.
Oh
I'll
my
make it very brief.
God.
But it was when I was in the military and we were in convoy and I was dipping and it was a bad decision because we were on real bumpy
God.
roads.
Ew.
And I had to puke, but I couldn't go anywhere. I was
You're
in
in a
the back of a Humvee, so I had a bottle and I was trying to.
Oh, wow.
Most of it got in there, but it was bad. Yeah.
That sucks.
So peeing in a bottle is nothing.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Because I have once, but like, it's a lot more than you think.
Oh yeah, no, it'll fill up.
You got to get a big bottle.
Yeah.
No, it fills up. Yeah.
You
Agree.
need the big Gatorade boy. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've needed
I learned
two
the hard
bottles
way.
before. Yeah,
You get a little overflow.
Yeah, it was like a this
Dasani or whatever.
By
You have
the
to
way,
pinch
this
and
is like
pour.
16 years ago, so this is not recent. But I remember it was like a Sprite bottle. Like,
Oh, yeah,
dude,
no.
that is not enough.
Oh, yeah,
you need
that's
a
tough.
big boy.
Yeah.
you need a big
it's
one.
tough.
32 ouncer for
Yeah.
sure.
32
12
ounce
ounce does
wide
not
mouth
work.
Gatorade.
Get
Boom.
the
Paul's the
900
Paul
milliliter.
is an
Paul's
expert
there
in
on the pee
field.
bottle. Wow, we
I
are.
think I have 2 of those in my car right now, empty.
I would hope.
Just hold it.
Hey,
away.
content.
Full.
Content. Let's get it up.
Well, actually, no.
If we had a Patreon, that would be on it
Paul,
for sure.
Paul should be glad he got the 900 milliliter Snow Peaks because
I
that's
just piss
you
in my
know.
pot.
Yeah.
I do have a pot to piss in.
I was gonna say the rest of us don't have a pot to piss in. Oh my god! Wow!
Oh my
right.
God. On that note,
gotta
I
stop.
guess sorry for the all overness. This episode's
It
just
only
about
took 50
whatever.
minutes to get. Sorry, you're welcome.
But
Insane.
yeah, no, I appreciate you guys watching and listening. If you guys have had any weird encounters or had something goofy happen to you, or I guess if you've been scared on the trail or something like that,
What do you do to mitigate your fear? Right?
leave us a comment.
You
Let us
packing
know.
heat,
Let us know.
pissing in jugs.
Burning
Burning sage.
Oh man, we appreciate you guys listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a 5-star review, and we will see you next time.
I've got a pot to piss in.
The Trail Theory Podcast is sponsored by Audimute and Audio Technica. Music by Dan Koch.